welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're tackling a fundamental question, really, about power and principle in how we're governed.
That inherent tension.
Exactly. And we're diving into a pretty pointed critique from Trey Gowdy. He uses this, well, surprising technique.
You mean referencing past statements?
Yeah, from a very prominent figure to sort of question how views on executive authority might shift depending on where you sit. It's quite revealing.
It really is. And our goal here, is to unpack Gowdy's argument. It focuses on what he sees as a change in position on executive power and, importantly, the judiciary's role.
Right.
And what makes it compelling is how he does it. He's not just saying things. He's using very specific, direct quotes from Senator Barack Obama.
From before he was president.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Way before his presidency. And Gowdy uses these to force you to think. Can a leader's constitutional ideas genuinely change with the job title? And what does that mean for, consistency in government?
And he certainly doesn't mince words. Gowdy kicks off with some incredibly powerful language from Senator Obama back then.
He does.
He highlights things like, these last few years, we've seen an unacceptable abuse of power. And having a president whose priority is expanding his own power.
These aren't just throwaway lines. They signal a deep concern about unchecked authority.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And then there's that other quote Gowdy brings up. No law can give Congress a backbone if it refuses to stand up as a co-equal branch. It immediately makes you ask, well, what is the real balance of power between Congress and the president?
It does, and Gowdy keeps pulling on that thread using Obama's earlier criticisms, especially about how the executive interprets laws.
Like the signing statements issue?
Exactly. He points to Obama's concern about a president who could, and I'm quoting loosely here, sort of change what Congress passed by attaching a letter saying, I don't agree with this part or that part.
Which is a huge deal constitutionally.
It's fundamental. It's Congress's intent versus the executive's power to, interpret or even modify how a law works in practice. Gowdy suggests this isn't just politics, it's a potential crack in the system itself.
So, okay, that's the congressional side, the executive action side. But where does the judiciary fit in? Gowdy turns there next, right? The Supreme Court's role.
Yes, he quotes Senator Obama again, saying something like, one of the most important jobs of the Supreme Court is to guard against the encroachment of the executive branch.
Guarding against encroachment. So the court as the referee.
The ultimate check in that view. But then Gowdy hits this critical legal snag. He asks, essentially, how in the world can you get before the Supreme Court if you don't have standing?
Standing. That hurdle.
That's a big one. When Gowdy asks that, he's pointing right at this major procedural barrier. Standing isn't just some legal term. It means you, the person suing, have to show you suffered a real specific injury.
Not just a general disagreement.
Exactly. No concrete personal stake. The courts, they just can't hear your case. And that could potentially leave some executive actions, even questionable ones, completely unchallenged judicially.
It raises this really interesting question, then, about how Congress, as an institution, could even seek that kind of judicial check if it can't prove a specific harm to itself in the way the courts require.
It's a sharp point about a potential, gap in accountability.
Yeah. And that kind of leads Gowdy to his bigger questions, the more rhetorical ones.
Right. He throws out that challenge. What's changed?
How does going from being a senator to a president rewrite the Constitution? He's clearly saying, look, no amendment got passed that suddenly changes these rules.
He's pushing you, the listener, to think about whether these core principles, checks and balances, separation of powers should stay the same, no matter who's in the White House or who's in Congress.
It really sets up this fascinating constitutional and, let's be honest, political debate that we're digging into. So as we start to wrap this up, it's really clear that Gowdy's core message boils down to this. Process matters.
That's the refrain.
He argues it matters way more than, say, motivations or this idea that the end justifies the means. And he uses these really striking analogies.
The police officer examples.
Exactly. Yeah. Like a cop, maybe with the best intentions, but they forget to check one box on a warrant application.
And the evidence gets tossed, even if it proves guilt beyond doubt.
Right. Or the cop gets confession, knows the person did it, but didn't follow the proper procedure.
And the defendant walks free.
Yeah. So for Gowdy, this process matters thing isn't just red tape. It's about the rule of law itself. He's arguing that government legitimacy, protecting liberties, it all rests on having predictable, established rules. Yeah. Doesn't matter how good the intention is or how much you want that outcome.
And building right on that process matters idea, Gowdy then zooms in on one specific, very powerful word in the presidential oath.
Faithfully.
Faithfully. He really makes us ask, what does it actually mean to faithfully execute the law? He emphasizes that modifier, faithfully.
It's not just execute the law.
No. It implies something more, doesn't it? Fidelity, loyalty to the law's original intent, adherence to the constitutional process. He suggests the framers added faithfully for a very specific reason. It's about integrity, not just, going through the motions.
Okay, so if faithfulness is the standard,
Yeah.
what happens when it's argued that standard isn't met? What are the consequences? Gowdy draws a line here between punishments and remedies.
That's a key distinction he makes, yeah. He mentions things like, well, waiting for the next election, that's a political check.
Or Congress using its power of the purse.
Right, cutting off funding, a powerful tool. Or even, in extreme cases, impeachment.
Big punishments.
Definitely punishment.
Yeah.
But Gowdy argues those aren't really the remedy for the specific problem of a law being executed, let's say, unfaithfully.
So what is the remedy, in his view?
And this is where it circles back quite deliberately, I think, to Senator Obama's earlier position. Gowdy presents that as the true remedy.
Which is?
He says the solution is to go to court, to go to the Supreme Court and have the Supreme Court say, once and for all, we don't pass suggestions in this body, we pass laws.
And we expect them to be faithfully executed.
Exactly. That perspective places the judiciary firmly as the crucial arbiter, maybe the ultimate one, for ensuring the executive actually sticks to the letter and the spirit of the laws Congress passes.
So it leaves us with this big question to think about, doesn't it? When we're interpreting the Constitution, that delicate balance of power, how much do our definitions, our working ideas of process and faithfulness actually shape how laws are applied in the real world?
And what does that tell us about the constant push and pull, that dynamic between the branches of government? It's something that goes way beyond just one administration or one political fight.
It forces you to really consider if bedrock principles hold firm, or if they inevitably bend depending on who holds the power. A lot to chew on there.